Hey, what's up, guys? Happy Thanksgiving. I'm holed up here in the father-in-law's basement avoiding the kids. Wanted to shoot this video for you where I'm going to share with you the 5 most important things anyone looking to grow a remodeling or residential general contracting business needs to know. First, to get started, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Boland. I'm the founder of Remodel Commanders, and I feel like I've seen it all. From almost bankrupting my first general contractor to now helping create over 30 multi-million-dollar remodelers or residential general contractors in just this year. Guys, I've made a ton of mistakes in my journey, but I've also cracked the code and plan to give you everything you need to find success in this business for free. Okay, so these 5 things I'm about to share with you, guys, I wish I knew, all those years back when I was just getting started. And if you can promise me to not be a complete lazy piece of shit and apply everything I'm about to show you, it can change your contracting business forever. So let's dive in. So tip number 1, guys, that is think like a Wall Street hedge fund manager, not a hammer swinger. And so back when I thought our business was all about craftsmanship and thought being successful meant having a lot of very expensive trades and design creatives on payroll, I could never crack $1.5 million. And what held me back was 2 things. Number 1, I didn't have enough time in the day to manage quality, calculate estimates, to draw up plans, make sales, keep the books. There just wasn't enough time to get above 1.5 million because I was literally doing it. Number 2, because we couldn't grow past 1.5 million, I couldn't afford true A-level talent, which created a grown man daycare of a prison of mediocrity that created even more work for me managing those guys. And because of that, we did the opposite of grow. We got smaller as we got bigger. Weird. Okay, so what snapped me out of this was a billion-dollar real estate developer mentor of mine who slapped me upside the head with this framework I'm about to share with you. And he said, listen, building additions or remodeling kitchens is just a product, all right? We are in the risk control business, just like Warren Buffett, right? We see an opportunity, aka a project. We deploy capital in the form of money and people, labor, right? Material, labor, money, right? And what we're doing is we're seeking at least 67 cents for every dollar invested for our time and expertise to protect our clients by guaranteeing a project built on time to schedule via our risk control processes. In other words, we're much like investors, we're in the risk management business. We just happen to build things as our product, okay? And unfortunately, I learned this framework way too late for my first GC and basically fire sold it for the value of the customer list and the equipment to my employees. But in my 3rd GC as a chief operating officer, we turned around a $250,000 operating loss on $8 million a year in sales to profiting 1.2 million net after taxes on 11 million in sales. And that just took 6 months to do. And so looking at our business through this lens, every problem becomes easily solvable. It's almost mind-bending how fast a remodeler turns around when this framework becomes your North Star. And had I not made this change, I probably would have tried over again. And I probably would have been, I would have just been cycling back and forth between trying to get a company off the ground, burning out, getting a job, trying over again, never getting anywhere. So ignore this at your peril. So tip number 2, here's my advice I would have given myself when starting out and I had very little money to work with. My biggest struggle starting out was the same as everyone else's, and that was fucking cash flow. But when I realized cash is infinitely creatable and high margin, wealthy clientele value certainty and speed, this became the easiest problem to solve. And what made me different from my competitors is I created what I call the client paid marketing system that exploited each of my competitors' weaknesses by selling a complete design process, resulting in a no builder change order guaranteed fixed price contract and a value guarantee to beat any competitor's credible bid by $500. And this allowed me to collect tens of thousands of dollars extra on top of the build contract up front. And I would pocket 40 to 50% of that as net profit before even selling the build contract. And I would put that money into hiring the best possible project management talent and trade talent, making an unbeatable customer experience and zero cash flow problems for growth because of all of that juicy front end profit that allowed us to invest in really, really Gucci, highly effective marketing. So tip number 3, let's say money isn't the problem anymore. This is how I take things to the next level with businesses that I work with. And so let's take a look at my portfolio partner, Kyle Bridgen of NSSHome.co in Tacoma, Washington, who came to me with $1 million remodeler that was over 300 grand in debt from losing on a big job. And his biggest problem was he just wasn't pricing high enough because he never knew exactly what his costs were going to be. And 6 months later, he's tracking to build over $4 million and take home well over 500K after putting to bed all his bad debt. And we attacked this monster on 3 fronts. Number 1, we recruited 1099 independent designers who have killer brands that we could borrow from their credibility and their luxury brandness. And they also had their own marketing. So they were bringing jobs to us, not just us bringing jobs to them. And we put together a joint process to produce airtight designs that we could guarantee 0 change orders on, provided the client didn't change their mind or there wasn't anything funky inside those walls. And we built a network of realtors and designers, 20 of them to be exact, to feed him business, right? Kyle meets with them once a month. There's 20 working days in a month, every month. And we leveraged overseas civil engineers for like $10 an hour to put together material quantities for our estimates, basically at a below 2% miss rate, which is kind of like the commercial standard. In other words, if they estimate 100 square feet for tile, it might be 102, it might be 98. But the point is, it's no more than 2% off. And that allowed us to build allowances for the trades and for the materials and convert those allowances to hard bids by laying off each line item onto a trade's subcontract while retaining the purchase of all materials to eliminate a layer of markup. Play that one back. That's some super secret sauce right there for you. So Kyle went from losing 15 revenue points of profit from estimate to final job cost to producing jobs that outperformed their estimates profitability by an entire revenue point. I mean, this is like doing our business in God mode. And now he's clipping 4 million a year and he's gearing up to do 6 to 7 million next year. And quite frankly, the guy just got back from taking his family on their first family vacation ever. And what I'm so proud of Kyle for doing is he went 10 days without answering a single phone call. His project stayed on track and his invoices were collected on time. Very nice. So guys, tip number 4. Tip number 4 is you need to design your team compensation to align with owner compensation. And so the thing is, guys, you're never going to grow past $1 million to $1.5 million doing everything, including the trades. I would argue you're going to have a tough time getting above 2.5 million self-performing anything other than project management. Project management and punch. But what I can promise you, for all you naysayers out there, is if you're doing everything, you're never going to get off the tools because you're doing everything. And because you're doing everything, you're likely not going to retire because investors don't buy jobs, and that's what you have. And in fact, this is why 96% of remodelers fail or simply close their shop every 10 years, because they neglected to learn how to build a proper team whose compensation is aligned with you as the owner, so that they think like owners, but they're paid like employees. And so when I'm looking to scale, what I'll never hire below 5 million is in-house design. There simply isn't enough gross profit to attract A-level talent when the alternative for these shit-hot designers is to work for themselves. It's kind of like being in the trades. Anybody worth a damn works for themselves, right? And the other thing I will not hire is I basically will not self-perform anything except project management and punch list. So yes, I have trades in-house, but their job is to execute punch list because I want my subs moving to the next job to keep making us and them money. So that's why I always have the best subs at the best price, because I'm the GC that doesn't make them clean up their mistakes. And more on that strategy later, but there's a reason for that, and I'll talk about that in a different video. So instead, to grow out of Death Valley, which I define as 1 to 4 million, I invest my net profit back into hiring project directors to sell and manage the clients, all the way from lead to final payment, and project managers to run the subcontractors and manage the schedule and manage quality. Now, each PD PM team, whose compensation is based on gross profit, should be able to build 2.5 to 5 million per year at a 40% gross margin when all of your trades are fully subcontracted and you're coming behind with your own internal punch list or punch crew. But this only works if you only have A-level team members. We can't afford B or C players at this stage of the business, right? We're too small to gamble on, somebody not having initiative and competency. So when I'm hiring these guys, a minimum of 25 to 50% of their annual target compensation, their pay, needs to be bonus based on gross profit production. That's the clearest way to align them with your priorities. And when I'm making these hires, I'm looking for 3 things primarily. Are they humble? Are they hungry? And are they smart? I mean, we can teach project management. We can teach people how to calculate a HIP. We can teach sales. We can teach how to run the books. But we can't teach is how to be coachable, how to be ambitious, and how to be driven. And that's what separates an A player from everybody else. Okay, so tip number 5. Let's finish this up. What you build is not your niche. In all the years that I've been in remodeling and design build, nothing fires me up than well-meaning, talented general contractors stuck in Death Valley below $4 million a year, limiting themselves because, quote, riches are in the niches lane. Didn't you hear, you moron? And I think a lot of these guys pigeonhole themselves because as bath or kitchen guys or windows and siding guys or custom home guys, they got bit building a particular product and they just simply refused to do it again. And I mean, I get it. Makes sense. And this happened to me too. I lost my ass on a big addition. And for the longest time, I would only do kitchens and baths and basements because I didn't learn the correct lesson. And that's a shame. It's a shame because I let one bad decision burn me twice. First, losing my ass. And second, from the delayed financial gains that awaited me once I learned the correct lesson, why I got bit in the first place. So my number 1 piece of advice for y'all ready to grow your residential general contractor or remodeler is don't confuse your products with your niche, right? Additions, houses, kitchens, baths, they're just products. Design build or design bid build, those are just project delivery methodologies. Our niche is residential general contracting, and our trades are project management, talent management, and financial management. I really wish I learned this lesson that we get paid as general contractors a premium to control risk, not necessarily to build cool shit. That just happens to be the thing we control risk doing, okay? Or I wish I understood that I lost my ass on that addition because I was a trash project manager back then with no real systems for building, no real systems for design, no real systems for risk control, no real systems for financial management, which then led to me running trash subs because I didn't have my money right. Again, that was all back then. Easily fixed. And so guys, those are the 5 things I wish I knew. I mean, now you know them too. And there's absolutely no reason why you can't get ahead in the remodeling or residential general contracting game. So guys, if you enjoyed this video and you want to get ahead, you check out my guide, which is the only guide you'll need to the remodeling business right here.